What you saw on screen was one of the scenes from History of Finland, in the period of the Winter War. In this video I will summarize how I made it in a time lapse. As you can see, I have already started for this and the entire History of Finland in Countryball, as well as pretty much all of my other Countryball animations. I used mainly two programs. A program for making the animation and background, and a program for adding the music, sound effects, and adding it all together, and a few mostly minor improvements. I use Photoshop for making the background. However, you can also use Onett or GIMP. However, Photoshop does have a feature which the other aforementioned programs don't have, where you can create a video or frame timeline. Getting more into that later. For the first thing you need that will ultimately affect how fancy and overall cool the video is background. What you see on screen is me drawing sort of a trench. Now that background is done, we need to add the Countryball to the scene. I've already pre-made a lot of my Countryball models, so I wouldn't have to make one every time. And of course, so it looked the same, not completely different from the last one in the last scene. Same thing applies for eyes. If you want to make the Countryball or any layer in it move, we have to convert it to the smart object, otherwise it won't work. You can see this from the original recording, but when you go to Window, there should be a button that says Timeline. Then click it, then click Create Video Timeline. Now we can finally get into the animation. For the animation to actually be animated, and not just suddenly a random Countryball moving from one place to another, but to actually make it proper, you need to use these things called keyframes. Keyframes are for the movement to be continuous. In GIFs or stop motion, these are called just frames. Luckily, in this program, for the most part, you don't have to make each frame over and over again. Or there are some programs many people use that require those. Click on the little tick next to transform and do a little bit of movement for each 1/3 of a second. There's also opacity and style, though I have honestly no idea what style is for, I'll be honest. Each time my expressions are changed, make sure that they match the size with the previous one. It's common sense, really. For the final step, go on File, click Export and Render Video. Now we get into the program for editing. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. There's not much to it other than import the video, drag it next to the scene you made previously, unlink it and delete the audio layer, and cut it where there's nothing to be seen anymore, and put some music or sound effects and some other stuff such as effects, text or voiceovers if you want to. And that's basically all there is to it.